After reading the article, Homemade Rising, I found it to be very simple and right to the point. The author, Lorelei, she goes on to explain, I think, what a lot of us want to actually do in our real regular life. I think it's really safe to say that there's a lot of things in our food that most consumers are aware that aren't the best choices for us. But people make these choices because of convenience. Although I appreciate what Lorelei has to say and her feelings and what she's actually accomplishing, I think it's great. But for most modern people, I mean, most families they have two incomes, they both work, husband and wife, leaving very little family time to actually cook your meals, let alone the fact of finding foods that are actually good for you. An example that I'd like to give is with my own personal life. As I mentioned before, I have celiac disease, which I found out 5 years ago. So that has made me want to look at, actually have to look at the labels much more clearly and to know exactly where the foods come from, what's in there, and if there's any possibility of kind of cross-contamination. So my daily food consumption is probably similar to the thought that Lorelei gives, where she has to think about what she's cooking and where it comes from, and possibly take her own food that she grew in her garden. I pretty much do the same thing. It's very rare that I'll eat a packaged food or eat out or go to a fast food restaurant and pick something up. So ultimately, I am eating healthier, but I'm not exactly eating what I would like to eat. I have to say that I actually agree with Lorelei on one of her another point, where she said the more labels she reads, the less she likes them. I work as a food scientist and a product developer, so I have to be very conscious of the labeling and work closely with our regulatory department to make sure that these labels match exactly what they should be saying. But I myself, when I go to the stores, especially looking for foods in my restricted diet, I do tend to get very frustrated with some of these crazy looking ingredients and not knowing what they are. For me, the SEEI exercise is something that I can use to help me to take a step back and to actually think about what it is I'm about to consume. I definitely think that considering these issues belongs in a nutrition class, and the reason why I believe that is because you could very easily cook everything yourself and make it from scratch, but it does not necessarily make it healthier for you. Making healthy choices is to understand what the food is and how it affects your body in a whole.